Chicago, everybody. This is the 2000 tick ES chart. As always, welcome, welcome. How's everybody doing today? Let me know in the chat how you are doing. Oh, I need to change one thing. Okay, cool. Cool. Hope everybody is having a good day. Really slow moving price action at the moment. Whoops, I just opened up the stream here. I was checking on something real quick. I forgot to mark this. We gotta mark this one here. We'll mark some more as we go. Good morning, good morning. Expand this out a bit. All right. Really slow price action day, guys. Super slow. Look at this. Hardly any bars. If you actually measure the overnight session to now, there's only 150 bars. This is about the least amount of bars you're going to see on a day. Pretty much besides like a holiday that has a partial open. So this is a very, very low volume day, about as low as it's going to get, and that's why there's not very many trade setups. And we kind of knew that coming into it because the overnight session had hardly any bars, so we knew it was going to be a low volume day. But yeah, there's some setups here happening. We might get a failed breakout here. So let's see. We just filled the gap. We might get a failed breakout, so we'll watch that for a second, and we'll see what we get. So let's see if we get a failed breakout. Are we going to get one? Maybe. Still tough to say for sure, but we'll see. All right, cool. And while we're going, if you just joined in, please give the video a like. Let's get as many likes as we can on the stream. Let's get it out to people. We'll see if we get how many people we get in the stream today. All right. Just going to send out a quick notification here that we're live on the different areas. So let me just send that out. Oops. All right. Cool. All right, cool. So let's see, do we get a failed breakout here? We got to watch this and just see if we get a failed breakout here. Because we came off these range lows. That broke a little lower, but this could end up being a failed breakout, so we just got to watch. Good morning, good morning. Good to see you in the chat, Traderator. Good to see you, DJ. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We'll go over the trades in just a minute. I just want to see what happened here with this, and we'll go over the overall structure and everything and the context and everything in just a moment. I just want to see what happens here if we get a failed breakout. So let's just watch it. But today was definitely a day where you had to exercise patience. And you can see at the top of my screen there, the ATR is 2.29. That's the 21 period ATR. So you can just see that it is very slow moving price action. Very slow. Not a lot of volatility. 2.29. It doesn't really get much lower than that typically on the ES. You know, you can see these bars. This bar is only 7 ticks. You know, we got bars like this one. It's only 5 ticks. I think even today there's a couple of spots where we had we might have even had like a 4-tick bar here and there. Yeah, there's a 4-tick bar over there. So just really, really slow. Okay, so here comes the possible failed breakout. Let's see. Got plenty of space to that EMA. Could easily come up and tap that. So we'll see. Oh, nice to see you, Daryl. Nice to see you. Yeah, today's a tough one. Today is definitely a tough one. This is the first actual good trade, like really good trade today, right here. So, and that didn't come until right when the stream was basically starting. So there it is. That's the best trade of the day. This trade was decent too, but not perfect, and I'll explain that. And then this one over here was, I didn't take it, and I'll explain that one too. That's the only trades I even marked. I only marked 3 actual trade setups so far today. There's a couple of spots where we almost had a setup, and you could maybe argue that there's a possible setup. I didn't draw it, but there is like a little... Let me just see. And then this was like a triple test, but again, you don't have enough space to take the trade. So I'll talk about that when we get over there too. Are we going to get a... And there's a trade set up here, but again, it's not ideal. You can see from here to here, plenty of room to the EMA. So you could say that there's a trade set up here, but it's risky to take this one, I think, on a failed breakout. I think you need a higher low there because, you know, it broke through the bottom of this. It is a close outside and a move to a new low, but you might get another leg. So you got to be careful there. I don't love that, but you can, you know, there is a setup. The other reason that this is not ideal is because it doesn't break above. So I want to call this out. I wouldn't take this trade because if you see here, it doesn't break above this bar on the next one. So you get congestion. So here, let me do this. I'm going to label this with a non arrow, like one of these arrows, because it's a failed breakout, but it's not really one that you would take. So I'm going to put that type of arrow there so that we can talk about it. Yeah, this short here is the best type of short to go for. You're going for the gap fill. You're going for the lows in the range. You got to close outside of the channel, and one leg, second leg, you're expecting a new low. Like, there's every reason to take this short right here. Perfect signal bar. It's only 8 ticks, so you only get and enter that with like a 10-tick stop loss. Really easy one, and you probably get a little bit more out of this one than just the scalp. So there you go. All right, so if you guys are just joining now, please give the video a like. Let's get these likes up to an all-time high. Let's do it. Let's try to get as many likes as we can on the video. And also, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel, and we'll go from there. So please give the video a like and a subscribe. So let's go through the context. So the way that I saw this day is like this. I'm going to zoom out a bit. So I saw it like this. Basically, overnight opened over here, and we had this low. And we basically, originally I thought we might get a trend. I thought maybe we would get something like this. But the problem is when this swing came down to it, it just immediately dumped through. So then I knew we didn't have a trend. And I didn't want to make some wide trend that looked like this because it just doesn't make sense. There was no like wide trend like that. So really, I ended up drawing a range here. And then this came up to a measured move. But eventually it just became a 2-tiered range. So I drew this to, I think originally I had it off like this close. But then when this happened, I drew it up a little higher, especially when we got this swing. And then it was definitely confirmed that this is the highs of the range because you have this touch here, this touch, this is a failed breakout, and then you have this, and then this. So this lines up perfect. The lows of the range might be slightly lower. This might not be a failed breakout. This might actually just be the lows of the range. We don't know that yet. But anyway, that's what we have. And so you play the short-term trend lines in there. So this is during the overnight. You have this trend up, close outside, move to a new high. And this happened right in the pre-market. So like when I came in this morning, it was somewhere in this area right here. And we do get a close outside of this channel, but there's no entries here. It just gets really sideways. There's just nothing there. And so, so I'll zoom in now and go over what happens. So basically, I had originally drawn the lows of this off of right here where there's all these closes. So we have these lows. And so we get this high. It pulls back. It gives us like this pullback, moves up, comes down, comes up. There's just no setups in here. Now, after this high, we did get a pullback and a first entry long. So this is a pullback, first entry long, and then a pullback. And there is a second entry long here above this bar, but you can't take it because you get an inside bar. So unfortunately, there's this bar here. If this would have been like a a little bit more bullish, then I would have said you could take the second entry long here because it's a close outside and a new low already. And then it makes another leg down. So the down channel has played out. And it's basically a triple test off the lows of the range. But the problem is it doesn't break above this red bar. It gives you an inside bar. So you have to just ignore the trade and not take it. And don't mess around with inside bars. You'll take way too many losses. They are just not worth it. If you do enter on this inside bar, you have to put your stop below this bar. But it's so risky to do that. It's because it's congestion. So I just don't think you can take that. Obviously, it works out, but that's hindsight. You don't want to take that kind of trade in real time. Comes up, first entry, second entry, short failure, but you don't want to go long up here. It's too high. And so you're just waiting here for this to kind of, to maybe give you some sort of rejection. You don't get it though. You get a new high, pull back, then you get this high. It pulls back, but you can't short this. This is too bullish. Now you do get this one, which makes an equal high here. So you could treat this bar right here like a lower high. The problem is at the time, you don't really know if the highs of the range are moving up. It's not consistent. If this closed a lot lower and you could have had, let's say something like this, and it closed below this line, then you could have seen this as a failed breakout and a lower high. But when it just closes all the way up here, it just looks too sideways. It doesn't look like a good lower high to me. So I don't think you can short this. I don't think you can short this. I know some people probably did, but I just don't think it's a good trade. So I'm not going to mark it. It is only 4 ticks, so it's very low risk. But I just don't think it's a safe trade. So it comes down and basically nothing here to really mark. You break right through this support and then it rejects. Now I did have this little mini range here, this pink line, which I lowered to this close later. Because I had it originally where this blue line is. But when we came back inside this area and rejected up here and then bounced down here and it went a little lower, I just moved it down. So I moved this pink line down to here. So on this move, you have this trend up. You don't get a close outside a new high. You have this short-term trend down. You do get a close outside and it's a first entry long from this high. So pull back, first entry long, pull back. This above this green bar is a second entry long, and I think that if you took this, you get filled on your scalp. You get just enough room to get a 4-tick scalp there. But the problem is, it's an equal low, so you could treat this like the new low's been made. You could treat this like this was a failed breakout, and this is like a second higher low. So there's a few reasons to like this. You are expecting maybe a new high to be made here and for it to go up, but it's going straight into the midline. I don't love it. It is a really bullish bar, but I don't love the trade. I didn't take it. I just think that you're going long right into the midline. You don't, if this closed further down, then I would have said it's probably a safer bet, but it closed all the way up here and I wasn't sure if it was really going to go to the other side of the range, and it doesn't. So that's what you mean. It also hadn't made a full new low. It's an equal low. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. And if you're just joining now, please like the video. Let's get a bunch of likes going on this thing and definitely subscribe to the channel. So then as this comes down, you get another kind of short-term little trend down. This ends up being kind of like a failure, but you don't have anything here to say that you should short that because you just came off the support and you're near the lows of the range. You don't know it's going to break through the range. It does. You get a close outside here. And so this little move down gets a close outside a new low there. But it's not the most convincing area, and you still have this gap below you. So you're thinking maybe it's going to go down. So from this low, you come up, you make a first entry short. And this is a little weird one because you get this new low, pull back, you get a first entry short. Then this bar kind of comes up, and it basically gives you kind of like a second entry short right here. But this is really like an inside bar. So I looked at this like pull back, first entry short, and then pull back, second entry short below this bar. I kind of looked at this all as still just part of that first entry short, and then this is like the second leg. So I think that you could take this one. I had to mark it green because that's a little bit weird how that broke, how it really kind of triggers sort of like a second entry short right here that then reverses on you. But really just, looking at this visually, it's a one leg down, pull back, lower high, second leg down. And you're expecting a new low there. You don't get it, but it ends up being a decent one. So this one I think was a pretty good trade setup. Not the best, because you do have a close outside of this little channel with a new low. You don't know for sure if it's going to make a new low, and it doesn't. But it looks like it's going to at least probably give you a scalp there. So I think you could take it. Comes up, you go sideways here. And now at this point, you're stuck in this channel, this range. There's a triple test on this bar, but you can't take that. You got no room to the highs. It does form this little tight uptrend. Comes up to the top of the channel, and you do get a triple test of the top here, roughly. It's kind of like a triple test, you know, and at the time you wouldn't have known. You drew this across, because this could be the highs of the range like this, something like that. And that's just the failed breakout because it touches there and there. But you don't get a signal bar. It's too bullish. That's too bullish. So then it comes down, and you don't get a lower high or anything to take a short there. It's still within this up channel. Then you just reverse. So you can't take it there. Looking down here, we still got to wait to see if we come back to the lows of the range. So then you start to come down. You get a first entry, second entry long, failure, which actually we were talking about this in the in our Discord. So in the paid section of Discord, which is for the paid school members, and the paid course members, we were talking about this trade setup because there was a second entry long forming here, and I said it's probably going to fail, but you don't want to take it because we had all this support across here, and as you can see, the second entry long does fail. It stops out everybody, and then this one creates a close outside a new low, and basically like a triple test. But then that one fails as well. And it's because you fell back into this little consolidation zone. So you don't want to long there either because it's possibly back inside the consolidation. So there's no trade setups in here. It finally breaks down and you have this little wider channel. And then you have a close outside. What the heck? Why did it say connection lost? All right, it's back on. Anyway, close outside, new first entry short, and this is the best trade of the day. Close outside of the down channel. It tries to go lower, makes a first entry short, then it pulls back, and you get an inside bar. You ignore this little inside bar, and then when this one comes up, you get this move up. Below this bar is a second entry short, and it is a beauty. I mean, that's basically the perfect signal bar. Below, closes back below the 21 EMA. You're looking for it to come down to the lows here and fill the gap, and it just dumps. So that's the best trade of the day right there. And then there's a failed breakout here, but again, I think it's risky. I wouldn't take this because of the sideways action. This comes up, first entry short, and we could get this bar forms a second entry short, but you're not really looking to short this now. We already made a new low. You got to be patient here. So that's the setups for the day so far. So let's see if we get any more as we go. Slow action today. And welcome everybody to the stream. If this is your first time here, thanks for joining. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you have questions, go for it in the chat. And definitely give the video a like, definitely subscribe. Real quick, while we're waiting for this price action to develop, I will, there's also a, yeah, we just got to wait. This is a little sideways action. So while that's developing, I will show you guys some of the stuff here. So if you go to the link tree that is in the chat, pinned in the chat, it's also in the description. You can get access to all of our stuff. So there's our free day trading courses and in our free school community. There's our paid day trading courses in the paid school community. Obviously YouTube. There's a free trading Discord that you can join. And then there's Instagram and TikTok link here for our Instagram and TikTok. If you go to the free community, you can join this now. It only takes like 1 minute to join. It's no big deal. And then you get access to the community. You can ask questions in here. You get access to the calendar, which has our live stream schedule and when we're going to be going live each day. It's always in here. It also has our call schedule for our free calls, free community calls, and then it has the classroom with all of our free courses. So everything's in here. The last 5 calls are always posted here. There's also a new webinar that I just put in here yesterday. This was a webinar I did in someone else's community that shows them why I trade futures instead of options. So that was a cool one. And then there's the price action trading course Lite, which is actual sections from my paid course in here, and then the master classes. And then once you go through all this stuff and you like the style, if you want to learn my full style, it's all in the paid section. So the paid community, there's a link to that. It's only $99 a month. And this has the more comprehensive stream schedule and everything else that we do. It has a lot more stuff in the community, and you get access to the paid section of Discord. And the course itself is just way more comprehensive, and it's literally everything you need to know to be a price action trader the way I trade. So just wanted to share all that. Definitely check it out, and definitely give the video a like and subscribe if you're just joining now. And we'll see what we get here. So I'm going to check real quick. I want to see. We did really well yesterday on our targets with our live stream. So let's see what we got here. Oh, and by the way, we just hit 4,300 subscribers. So that's awesome. We just hit 4,300 YouTube channel subscribers. So that's a cool milestone. So everybody, thank you for that. Thanks for getting us to that number, to 4,300. So if you haven't subscribed, let's subscribe even more. Let's get more subscribers in so we even get above that number. And let's go here. I'm just going to check. Let's see. I feel like we could get a lot more likes than this. We can get a lot more likes than this on this video. So let's go, guys. Let's get more likes on this video. There's definitely enough people in here to give us some more likes. So let's see here. So we're going to watch this and see where this goes. Are we going to get a triple test? Maybe. But I wouldn't short here yet. Just slow action here. Slow action. So we got to give it some time to develop. So we'll give that some time to develop. And again, if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Happy to answer whatever questions you guys got. And Daryl, this is a question for you real quick. You said that you had a loss and a win. Where was your loss and win? Because I would like to take a look at those sections of the chart, and I can analyze that for you while we're on stream. So if you just let me know the timestamps where you took the trades, I could actually look at that section of the chart and go over it if that's helpful for you. So let me know. No pressure on you if you don't want to do that. But if you do, go ahead and drop it in the chat, and I'm happy to go over that. And anyone else, if you had any troublesome areas today trading ES, let me know where maybe you had a tough trade, a tough spot, or something that you didn't understand. And I'll go and look at that timestamp, and I can analyze that for you. So that might be a cool way for us to do this. Real quick, I'll cover this trade while we wait again, this trade breakdown. So I want to cover this. So overall, the context of the chart was we were in a range. We were looking for the lows of the range, and we were looking for a gap fill on this area from yesterday's close. We broke into this tight down channel, and we got a close outside, and we tried to make a new low. So that's a first attempt to make a new low. That's a first entry short. Then we pulled back, and below this bar is a second entry short, and we're expecting a new low to be made and a gap fill to be made, and both of those happen right here. That's what you want to see. Took hours to wait for that setup, but it came. So that's the cool thing. And you know, the price action always plays out. All right, 10:52. All right, so, and I think you're on East Coast time. So let me go. So that would be 10:52. All right, we can take a look. So there's trades in the range all day. So to your question, to Dumb Destroyer, which range are you talking about? I just need timestamps. So if you need, let me know what timestamps you mean for the range so I can identify it. So let's see. So Robert, I think that your loss was probably this second entry right here. Now in Discord, we were talking about this as it was forming actually. So I believe, let me go back to the timestamp. Yeah, we actually were. So it was, yeah, so we were talking about this one while it happened. But if you were following, I could see why you would have taken a trade there, but let me explain. So we came off the top of the range here. Now, typically coming off the top of the range, you expect to move to the new lows. Now, there's previous consolidation zone here. So when we came back to this level, we came down, we got a first entry long and a pullback and a second entry long. Even if you didn't have this bigger trend here, this is what it would have looked like at the time. So if you took a long there, you're taking a long in a down channel, which you never want to do. So you always want to draw your short-term down channels. And so it was still within there. So the second entry long happens within the down channel. So when this happened, I said this is probably going to fail. And then it did. It broke down and failed. It stops everyone out right there. Then it does bounce here very, very temporarily. But you don't want to long this either because it's still this previous area of consolidation and it's closing within this little area. So it was almost like a failed breakout of consolidation and then a break back in. And then finally it does break down there. And then when it continued, that's when you would say, okay, there's probably a wider channel here like this. Because it breaks and it keeps going lower. So then that's how I saw that. Yeah, exactly. So that's a tough one though. I mean, also keep in mind it's below the 21 EMA. You just broke below it. It's a sideways range day. So we're not really looking for second entries in ranges a lot of the times, unless it's in an area where you expect a move to a new low from a short-term trend. So so that's a tough one. It's not it's like I understand how you could get tricked there, but just learn from it. Definitely just learn from it. All right, let me go back here to some of these. So the morning range we were in. Okay, so this range here, there are no setups in this range besides this second entry long that happens later in the range. So to your question, Dumb Destroyer, this is the only one I saw. And this trade was so to your question, was there any trades in the range? Kind of. We have a failed breakout at the top, failed breakout at the bottom. Then we come back here. And then from this high, you have a pullback. You have a first entry long, pullback. You have a second entry long off the lows of the range. Really bullish bar. There's just enough room to get a scalp there. But it's not the best trade because this low didn't actually make a new low on the short-term downtrend. And it was just looking a little bit dicey there. This bar closes right near the midline. So you are longing the midline of the range. So it's valid, but it's not ideal. And over here, there's nothing. This is too chopped. There is a possible second entry long above this red bar, but you get an inside bar next to it. So you just have to skip it. Because when you get that, it means that we might be in congestion. And we don't want to take a trade and get stuck in congestion. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so I see. So Daryl, you took 11:04 Eastern, which would be somewhere in here. 11:04 Eastern. Your chart must look different than mine, unless you took this long. Oh, I see. You took that long. Okay. So, yeah, I see. So that was tempting, by the way. That was a tempting trade, because if you drew a line across here, right? You drew a line across here. It looks like a triple test right there. So I see what you're saying. It does look like a triple test right there. I'm going to explain why this is not a good trade to take, though. Because I actually looked at this one and thought, hey, that looks like a triple test forming, but there's a reason I didn't like it, and this is what it is. So let's delete this channel real quick. So when you're coming down here, you had bounce there one time, twice, and it looks like we're going to bounce there again. But what the problem with this is, so you get a close outside, and this looks like this is a close outside and a new low right here of this down channel. So it looks like one more leg to a new low where we might reverse. The problem is when this thing comes down that steep, it's almost, you just have to look at this with like skepticism, because it's such a steep push that you have to treat it almost like, hey, this correction to a new low might literally be forming a trend of its own. The other thing is, with it moving that steep, you had to consider the possibility that we have something like this in place. Like something, at the time, maybe you drew it like this. It just looks too steep for me to like really consider that. So the only way that I would have wanted to take this as a triple test was if after this new low, it came up and gave us a higher low there off of it, like a triple test with a higher low. then I would have said sure. The other problem with it is when you get a triple test like this, and so after the fact, by the way, I'd say that the trend was more like that. But when you get a triple test like this one, if the low is a lot lower than the previous lows, it's always going to be a little riskier. And the low of this one went much lower than these lows over here. So it's always going to be riskier there. So I would want a nice higher low setup, and you just don't get one. I don't know how much room there even is there. You probably got, oh, that one's a bummer. You probably got, it probably tapped your order at 4 ticks and then didn't fill. So that's a big bummer. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Sorry to hear that one. All right. So then, you don't see my graph. What are you talking about? Oops, I just moved it. Guys, let me know in the comments. Do you see my chart? Because on my side, it looks like you can see it. I just moved it around just to show. But on my side, it looks like you can see it. So do you see my chart? Everyone let me know in the chat if you see my chart. Because to me, it looks like you can see it. So I just want to make sure that I'm not losing it. So let me know right now in the chat. Do you see my chart? Because I'm like going over trades here, and then you're saying you don't see it. But that doesn't seem correct. So, okay, yeah. So I don't know what you meant, Jay. We're talking about a specific area of the chart. We're talking about a specific area of the chart, Jay. So that's why. But I'm gonna move back to the current price action in a minute. So yeah, that's all. We're looking at a specific area of the chart that we were talking about, and it was right here, where my arrow or my cursor is, right here. So basically, right there, what you want is a higher low there, and for it not to really be in this steep trend. So I didn't love that, and that's kind of how I saw that one. All right, let me go back here. Yeah, so you got it, Daryl. You got it. I mean, you're understanding it perfectly. All right, so let's go back over here. All right, so then next one was a question from Tracy. You said, don't take a second entry long or second entry short in a range. Not exactly. Not exactly. You can take a second entry short or a second entry long in a range, but it's not the primary objective, is the best way for me to put that. So like basically when you're in a range, so if you have a range on your chart like this, if you get a second entry long off the bottom of the range, then great. That's a great trade to take. As long as it's not within a down channel, right? So if you have a down channel that looks like this, and the price action comes down, and the second entry long forms inside the down channel, you can't take it. But if you get this down channel, close outside, it bounces off the range with a second entry long, then yeah, you can take that. So what we're doing is we're playing the short-term trend line rules and the range rules of buying off the lows and selling off the highs. So you're looking more for like triple tests, failed breakouts, higher lows, lower highs. But yeah, you can take a second entry long in there, but you don't, the idea here, and this is what trips traders up a lot in the beginning. When people are learning price action, one of the biggest problems is that a lot of them will just get hung up on just looking for second entries all the time. And that's really not the goal. Like we're not looking for second entries just all the time. We're looking for second entries within a context of where they should be on the chart. So if you have an up channel, you want a second entry off of the lows of the channel or the 21 EMA if it's a bigger up channel, right? If it's like happening near the middle. If you're in a range, you're just looking to get trades off the lows of the range and the highs of the range. You're not looking for trades in the middle, which a lot of times you'll get random second entries in the middle of a range, so you don't want to take those. All right, cool. So let me scroll down here because I got a bunch of comments here, so I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Yeah. So I see what you mean. Yeah, guys. Yeah. So Jay, that was just because we were going over a spot. I think we're all clear on that. It's because I was going over a previous trade. All right. So yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Daryl. I'm sorry to hear that it tapped your order and then stopped you there, man. It's always a bummer when that happens. It's always a bummer when that happens, but I think, but good to learn from. Good to learn from. Okay, cool. And everybody that's in here, please give the video a like if you have not already, and definitely subscribe to the channel if you have not already. All right, so Dumb Destroyer, you asked, what are we looking for in a range? We're looking for, the simple answer is buy low, sell high, which you've heard, that classic cliche. When you have a range like this, what we're looking to do is take longs off of the bottom and take shorts off of the top. That's really that simple. But the way that we're doing it is specific. So we have to be aware of things like the trend lines that are happening within the ranges. We have to be aware of triple test, quadruple test, breakouts failing, higher lows, lower highs. There's a lot of nuance to it. And so, I go through every type of setup and scenario in the course. So, that's the way that I do this. I don't have, like I would say second entries are a secondary confirmation in a range, if that makes sense. We're looking to play the short-term trend line rules inside the ranges, so you still respect the short-term trend line. And again, like if you just go into the link tree, you can join. If you're not in this already, you can join the free community. And I believe I cover some of this in the free course. If you go to some of these market structures ones, trend lines and support and resistance with ranges, I cover some of it in here. And then I cover some live trades in here as well that you can see. I cover it in this price action strategy for range trading video. This is a YouTube video that's in here. So I cover it in that video, but it's in my course as well. And I cover some other stuff in the free course. But if you really want to learn that, like the specifics of it, I cover it in the paid course. I know that in here I have like range rules versus trend rules, range rules with triple tests, failed breakouts, reversals, like a bunch of different stuff that covers all the different range rules that you can trade. And also in the advanced one, I cover ranges way more specifically. So in the paid course, you get just a lot more out of that. So that's where you're going to learn that stuff. So hopefully you're already in the free course and you're already getting some value out of it and you've already been like learning it. But that's where you're going to find the bulk of it is in the paid. And again, it's only $99 a month. It's not like a super expensive to start learning. I take a lot of risk on doing it like that because I probably could just charge more just for the course on a standalone. But you get a lot more value out of the month-to-month membership because then you get access to the private Discord, the weekly calls that we do, the charts that I update throughout the trading session. Because throughout the trading session in the paid community, I'm posting all the chart updates so you can follow along exactly how I'm seeing it. So it just makes it a lot better for you to learn in real time. All right, let me see how many likes we got. How are we doing on likes? Let's see. Decent. We could be better. But we're doing decent. I think it helps get the video out to more people, getting the live stream out to a lot more people. But yeah, this is just one of those days. Super slow price action. No trades down here, really. That triple test ended up not really happening. Just so slow. A lot of these bars, even the ones that look big, are not even that big. Like this is a 13 tick bar. This big red one that looks huge, it's only 13 ticks. The volatility is just very low today. I wonder, I actually forgot to check to see if we have any data releases for the rest of the week. I looked obviously today and I stayed out of that one trade that was at 7 a.m. It ended up not doing anything. Where was it? I'll show you guys on the chart. It happened like right up here, I think. Yeah, like right here, this candle right here. It was right here. We did have a data release in here. So I was avoiding taking a trade within 5 minutes of the data release just in case, but it ended up not really doing anything. So it was right there. All right, so we do have some early morning releases tomorrow, about an hour before the market opens. So that might push some movement, some volatility into the market for when we open, which will be nice. And then same thing on Friday. We have some early hour before the open data releases, and then there is some 30 minutes after. So there's a little bit of news stuff, a little bit of economic releases, but nothing that crazy. Yes, to your question, I don't know. Some of the prop firms have different rules. So I think some of the prop firms don't worry about they don't worry about some of them don't worry about the drawdown until the end of the day. So like they have like let's say like for example, let's say they have a trailing drawdown threshold of, let's just say, $2,500. If that's the trailing drawdown, some of the firms, like I know that Apex does this, if you have an unrealized P&L, like you're in a trade and it draws down to that limit, it will blow the account. It will stop you out and blow the account. But I know that I think some of the other firms, they wait till the end of the day to evaluate it. So you could actually have a larger drawdown within the day or something. But I don't know how they do that or how they manage that. So you'd have to look into it. But I think most of them do look at the unrealized P&L. So you have to be aware of where you're at with the trading. But if you're at a point where you're hitting, where you're blowing through evals, then you should just be demo trading. You'll be better off demo trading until you have the system figured out and like till you are confident in your strategy. I think demo trading on a cash account is the way to go in this industry. I just think that it's going to remove the most amount of like psychological barrier. It's going to like allow you to be stress free, and then you can go from there. I think that prop accounts can be a good tool if used properly. The problem is what I just said. If used properly, almost nobody uses them properly, which the proper way to use them would be you've demo traded for a while. So then you get a prop firm account to use the eval on, and you use that like a demo account, but you really try to treat it with respect. And then once you get funded, then you trade that new funded account with respect, with a small size, very reasonable way of doing it. And if you blow the account, you go back to demo trading. You don't just like keep on trying to reset the things. Like you're probably not ready if you blow an account. So that's something that you should be demo trading until you're really good and confident before you really start messing with that. And a lot of people just try to go too fast, and then they start opening up a bunch of accounts and doing all this copy trading stuff and trying to over leverage themselves, and it's just a recipe for disaster. And you're just not ready psychologically most of the time to do that. So I just think that it's much more sustainable to start with a cash demo account. And then like really, I think that a lot of people's journey would be better off doing a cash demo account and then trading the micro for a while when they're ready to start trading with actual cash, and then graduating eventually to the mini, so from the MES to the ES, and just skipping the prop accounts altogether. But if you're disciplined enough to be able to do prop counts the right way, it can be a good tool. But a lot of people just are not disciplined enough to do it the right way, and they just over leverage themselves. And I think that it can lead to even higher amounts of tilt. Because if you haven't read it yet, I talk about this one in my free and my paid course. Let me get this book out. If you haven't read it yet, get this book, The Mental Game of Trading. I'm trying to like get it to focus. By Jared Tendler. Really good book. It's The Mental Game of Trading, a system for solving problems with greed, fear, anger, confidence, and discipline. I think it's the most important book to read as a trader. That is my opinion. I believe it is the most important book to read in trading. And I've read other books in trading. I've read Trading in the Zone. I think that's a good one too. And I've got some other ones. I've read like The Unknown Market Wizards. I've got The Biggest Loser Wins. So I've read trading books and whatnot, and I've like listened to podcasts and everything, but that one is the best. Oh, classic. So yeah. So well, we're just gonna all right. All right. There we go. I've been getting a lot of these people lately. A lot of people coming in and just trying to talk smack. But what are you gonna do? Just part of the game. Part of the game. And it's like I don't really know what people expect. Like what? Like we're not like we're. Yeah, never mind. I'm not even gonna go. No, I'm gonna try to avoid my soapbox there. But I will say this: when it comes down to it, um, when it comes down to it, you've got a lot of problems with tilt when you start trading with all these accounts and you're over leveraged. It's easier to tilt that way. So I'd say read that book. It's really, really helpful. Really helpful. All right. So let's see here. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Happy to answer some questions if you got some. Let's see. Just waiting here to see if there's questions. Cool. Yeah, it's a really good book. It really is. Super solid one. I really like it. All right, let's see. Yeah, I think trading in the zone was okay, but yeah, not my favorite either. And then to the other person on TN, you asked, is there any trades yet? Yeah, there's been trades. Today when I started the stream, the best trade happened literally like 3 minutes before I started the stream or something. It was right here. And then there hasn't really been any good setups since then. We are starting to form a slight upward bias channel here, but we're not really in a zone where I'd want to take any entries. So as you can see, we came off the lows. So I'm waiting to see if we form some sort of a channel that we could actually trade off of. It's possible that we're forming a channel that looks like this, but it's not very strong. We can draw it, but it's not very strong yet. So we just have to be patient here. And all right, so this question was, all right, so let me see if I can answer these questions here. All right, first one was, when I first started trading, was I hesitant entering my trades? You feel like that's you these days, not sure if it's strategy related. Yeah, when I first started trading, I was a little bit hesitant because I didn't have a lot of confidence in my strategy. And that's the thing, like when I tried different strategies out, what would happen is if I wasn't confident, I would have a lot of hesitancy opening the trade, or I would have a hard time letting the trade play out the way it was supposed to because I wasn't confident in the strategy. Most of this comes down to being confident in your strategy. So I don't I don't use any indicators now besides this 21 EMA, and that made me a lot more confident in reading the price action. So now I'm completely okay letting my trade play out. When I take a trade now, I'm confident that it's going to work. I let it play out. I'm confident in how my strategy works, and so I don't have that hesitancy anymore. But if you're not confident in your strategy, that's likely where that issue is coming from. And so what you want to do is just, like I said, trade on a demo account for a while with the strategy that you're doing and wait until you have extreme confidence in your execution and the trade's working out, because you need to be confident going into each trade, not confident in a way where you're overconfident for no reason. You need to be confident because you've tested it so much that you just know it's going to work. Okay, so your question was, if I was trading a prop account, how many contracts would I trade on a 50K? I think that just depends on, I think honestly, like if you're doing that, you'd probably still want to trade with the MES instead of the ES at first. And then when you're ready to start trading the ES, you could probably just trade with like one, maybe two contracts and just go full scalp without doing a runner. Or you could trade the MES with more contracts and then trade with runners. But that's really going to be up to you on how good your win rate is and how confident you are in your trades, how many trades a day you're taking. There's a lot of variables there that you'd want to account for. But you want to start small. The biggest problem is that people trade with the maximum amount that the prop firms let them trade with, and then they just blow up their accounts in like 2 trades. Or if they're trading NQ, they just blow it up in 1 trade. Yeah, and to your comment about moving away from indicators, like that's how it was for me as well. I used to trade with indicators and all this different stuff, and eventually when I removed everything to just trading price action on a 2000 tick chart and only looking at one chart, not even looking at anything else, just this one chart, one asset, everything got better for me. And then to make it even better, when I switched to trading to 1 to 4 trades a day, instead of taking like 10, 15 trades, crazy amounts of trades, that made things a lot better for me as well. So that's how I look at it now. But thanks, everybody. Thanks. Really good comments. Appreciate that stuff. All right. So if you have any other comments, questions, anything, let me know. And I am happy to answer those. But I'm going to have to go in a minute because I have the Zoom call after this with the paid school community. So that is coming up in a little bit more than 5 minutes. So again, real quick before we go, if you haven't checked it out, the link tree, it's in the comments pinned, it's in the description. There's a free trading course in there, free community. It takes like a minute to join. There's a bunch of stuff in there that you can get access to, a bunch of classroom stuff, free courses, this live stream schedule. You could ask questions in the community tab. There's the free Discord in there as well. And then there's the paid course and paid community, which is only $99 a month. That's in here. And again, the classroom section has a lot to it. There's a big calendar section, community. There's a lot in here throughout the day, throughout the trading session. I'm posting my live chart updates as they develop, so you can see how I'm drawing things as the price action develops. So there's a lot of stuff involved there. I don't want to go over all of it, but I just wanted to share that all with you before we go. And again, if you haven't done so already, please like the video and definitely subscribe to the channel. All right, let's see. Got one more question here. What did I find most difficult about learning and trading price action trading style? So let me see. So what did I find most difficult about learning and trading the price action trading style? So I'd say the thing that I found the most difficult was understanding what trends are the valid trend lines. So when you draw a short-term trend, like exactly how to draw it and where the valid trend line is so that we can identify if there's a close outside and a move to a new extreme. I think that was the hardest thing for me, was getting the trend lines right. And it comes only with experience of drawing it over and over again. But that's also why I do those live chart updates in my paid community, because it allows you, while you're actually trading and drawing your trend lines, to like look at my chart every so often. You know, you might have, let's say like early in the session, you might be looking at the chart like this, and maybe you have your trend line drawn different. I don't have a good example here, but like, let's say like you had it drawn like, I don't know, like this, and you thought this was a close outside, and you just had it drawn different. Well, you can just look at me posting my charts to see if I'm drawing it that way, and that will help you learn. That makes a huge difference, and I think that's why like people have been learning the style a lot faster when they join the paid community, because they're seeing like my actual chart updates throughout the session, and they can cross-reference those with theirs, and then they can adjust their trend lines accordingly. So I think that that is a really helpful thing. And that's like, but that just comes with literally having to do it day in and day out, and then you'll learn it. But I think like learning second entries was probably the easiest. I'd say learning second entries was the easiest. And yeah, and Tracy, thank you for that. So he said that the charts have definitely helped him. I think learning second entries have been the easiest thing. Learning failed breakouts and higher lows, lower highs after failed breakouts is also easy. I think also triple tests can be challenging, because it can be somewhat like, sometimes it's confusing. Like, okay, what constitutes a good support? What constitutes, like you draw like a line here, like that looks like pretty good support to me. But then again, when you draw it across, it's like, well, that is a triple test, but there's reasons to not like it. So it's all about learning how to match up the context. And I think that is also hard, is like how to match up the context. It's a really good question. As you got me reflecting on it. I think that matching up the context is the other thing, like putting it all together, like going, okay, I do see a triple test here. I do see a range. I do see a triple test. But also, do I see that there's a short-term trend that's playing out? Has it played out? Like, being able to run through all the scenarios and rules in your head in real time is the challenge. Because you could start to look at the chart and understand everything in hindsight, but in real time, it's happening quickly, and you have to be able to put it together quickly. And that only comes with screen time. That's what takes the longest. Like, some people only take a few weeks to actually learn all of the different like setups that we look at and how to structure things. And they can mark up a chart in reverse, like in hindsight. But then in real time, it takes them sometimes months to actually learn how to execute properly in real time to spot everything as it's happening. And that just comes with time and experience. And that's why demo trading is so useful in the early days. But thanks for asking that question, because that was super good. All right, I'm going to wrap up here, everybody. I appreciate everybody for joining the stream. I will see the rest of you in about 2 minutes on the Zoom call. I got to go take care of something real quick, so I might be like 1 minute late, but I'll see you guys all in a minute. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you all, and I will see you all in the stream tomorrow.